All right, moving on to the next line here. My question in his statement is, why do males manifest? I just showed you, what's going on in this whole process as far as meiosis and how the woman has the ability to procreate on her own. Also, what you need to understand is who is controlling the sex of the beings in this dimension. Who is controlling the sex? They want to tell you, oh, it's the man, and then the Y sperm is real fast, and it be going through there, and then the Y sperm get up in there real fast, and then it be a boy. No! Why didn't they tell you? Why didn't they tell you that there's no such thing as a Y sperm? Why didn't they tell you that? They all sisters. They all feminine. And once again, if they're not females, then he's going to be infertile. Because the mitochondria is going to stop anything that doesn't look like an X. So anything that doesn't look like an X, the mitochondria is going to pair the X coming from the sperm with the X that's in the female. And if those two X's are not compatible, then she's going to terminate this. And if it was a Y coming in here, if that sperm was a Y, which a Y sperm or a male sperm doesn't exist, but if it was, this is what it looks like. The mitochondria is going to terminate that so fast, it's not even going to have a chance to beat. She's going to terminate that because it's not a match. So what's the big deal about it? What is the big deal about who's controlling the sex of the beings in this dimension? One of the things that women don't understand, and we haven't been told, and when you do research, then you're going to understand. Melissa asked, can I share more about the alien that did this? The Anunnaki, according to my research, Thoth, when in the Garden of Eden, remember that whole rib story, which is in the Bible, just garbage, the way that they garbled it. But when you go back and read the ancient scriptures, study the Sumerian civilization, then you'll understand that what truly happened with the rib story. They kept putting more and more DNA into the humans, and one of the Anunnaki, according to the ancient scriptures, they didn't want the humans to have all of this DNA. They didn't want them to be equal. The other one had a job to do, and that was to create these humans. I didn't even mean to go into this, Melissa, but Melissa asked. Y'all blame it on Melissa. So the other one who had a job to create these humans, he had to keep putting more DNA into the vessel. Well, after Adam and Eve had been created, they saw them in the garden, but they were not procreating. They were having sex, but they weren't procreating, because the human vessel is a hybrid vessel in itself. And hybrid vessels are not supposed to procreate. But when you tamper with Mother Nature, then you can find a way, which is this thing they call sex. Then you can find a way to cause them to procreate. So what ended up happening is, when they were having sex, you got to understand, if it's all Y's inside of Adam, he got all Y genes and Y chromosomes, then when he tries to have sex and he tries to, the sperm tries to penetrate and it's a Y, the mitochondria is going to terminate that. So when they were having sex, it was the mitochondria that was regulating. She's like, no, that's not coming up in here. So then Thoth had to go in and put Adam and Eve to sleep, and Ninmah and Enki. Ninmah is the sister of Enki, and these two were charged with creating the human vessel. He put all four of them to sleep. He took DNA from Enki and put it into Adam, DNA from Ninmah and put it into Eve. So around in the ribs, this is where, inside of the bone marrow, is where stem cells. It's also inside of your ovaries as well. But when that yolk sac empties back, it empties a lot of stem cells into the bone marrow. So they had to go into the bone marrow of the Anunnaki and put it into the human vessels so that they could procreate. That's where the rib story comes from. And once they did that, they became more aware of self, more tapped in to source. They knew who they were. And I was like, wait a minute, we naked. That's where all that naked came from. So you go back and read the ancient scriptures and you'll understand where it came from. Thank you for that question. So getting back to this, why does a male manifest? The issue is that women are not recognizing where a male comes from. None of us are told this. But when you do research, you'll understand. So pay attention. And again, this is not a diss or a hate on my brother. This might upset some people. It is not my desire to upset you. Once again, I told you, you have to be mature and willing to go and do your own research on this information that I'm giving. But when you're talking about a child being born, it's determined by the mother and her state of mind. When you're looking at a male, you're looking at the fruits of a mother who was under duress at the time of the pregnancy. These are the facts that you haven't been told. So what's happening is, if you've got a woman who's getting beat up in her relationship, she doesn't like her job, she doesn't like her marriage, she's just unhappy all around, she's unbalanced mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. She's unbalanced. Then she's going to be likely to degrade that being to a boy. It has to do with her state of mind. That's where he's coming from, a woman who's under duress. This is what you should have been told. Because a woman who is balanced and knows who she is and has self-love, respect, honor, and things are going well in her life, the only thing she's giving birth to is a female. Love. A woman who has love, the only thing she's giving birth to is a female. Period.